What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. We got the full cast here for you today. We got Brant Fowler.
What's up, everybody?
And we have Kat Kumo. Kumo?
Kumo Uno.
Yeah,
Kumo Uno. It's a new
Kumo
one.
Uno.
Comic Uno, guys. And she is back from her little vacation. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time. We were talking a little bit before the show actually started. And it's always a good time when you get to go out of state and actually have a real vacation, right?
No, and that was nice. I actually went with like my family and my business partner. So it was nice that we kind of prevented ourselves to talk about work for a week, because usually if we're going away somewhere, it's like a convention and it's attached to like work something. So it's kind of cool just because we went for my brother who did the marathon for Disney. So we're like, let's make a vacation out of it. So it was a lot of fun. Did Epic Universe, did all the fun stuff. And now here, ready to talk about comics. And we actually do have a lot of news. So I am excited to kind of talk about some stuff here. We're going to quickly talk about some media news. We have Exquisite Corpses and Room Service is getting developed as horror films. So that's the James Tynion comic books. And the thing I thought was really interesting about this, A, everything James Tynion book is now becoming like a movie or TV show. But B, if one of these blows up, James Tynion can be the next Robert Kirkman, and that's gonna kind of change the game. And I'm curious like what that means for the future of comics. I think it's a little too distant to find out, but I could definitely see something taking steam just because it has so much in the comic world.
Yeah, and especially with Exquisite Corpses in particular, because you had
so new.
Yeah, and you had a huge success with like the Purge movies, and it's kind of in a similar vein. In a much different way, but it's in a similar vein, that the kind of violence, the kind of, it's isolated and all that kind of stuff. So I think it has potential to be really popular. So we'll see what happens with it. But
and one was a short film too. That was like a Kickstarter short film, which I know they made a comic attached to the short film, but it was, I think, only on Kickstarter. So I'm also curious, are they just trying to like make a bigger short film, or are they trying to make that a feature? Or they like, so there's a lot of different Nixon crannies there. So there's another I'll just announce that this came out. I don't think any of the three of us have an opinion on it, but maybe people will be like, why didn't you talk about it? But Lore Olympus is also getting like a TV show or something like that, and that's like a big cartoon. Yeah, they announced that, I think, through Paramount. So I knew that maybe someone would want to mention it. So I'll say that's a news story.
That's a huge webtoon, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one.
That's their big one.
Yeah.
The Exquisite Corpses, like I'm excited to see what that becomes. And out of all the stuff that Tynion has done, you got to think that one of them has got to hit pretty well on the screen, right? And Exquisite Corpses is like if you mix like Hunger Games in a horror type of element, I think that could be a very attracting type of movie or show or whatever it could be, kind of like you said, Brant.
Yeah.
And that has the tournament kind of side to it as well, right? From what I remember about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all these rich families are like battling for control, and they each have a representative, and they pick a small town and kind of isolate it and have their little tournament within the borders of that town. Like
the only thing I'm curious about with that one, like someone killing the children, I feel like is going to be a slam dunk because horror never goes out of style. But are people ready for another Hunger Games? Because they're making another Hunger Games, like in the vein of Hunger Games. And they've tried a lot with other books. So I'm also curious if people are just like, it's a Hunger Games ripoff or whatever they're going to say, which obviously read the comic if you actually feel that way. But
the difference though is that it's more horror like they're going to not hold back on it. That's going to be the
hopefully,
on it.
Yeah, that's why I was comparing it to The Purge, because that's very violent,
right.
So yeah, with the violence and the gore level, I think it's going to make it stand out a little bit differently. So, but we'll see.
Cool. Well, speaking of horror movies, comics, we got the Conjuring director making his Skybound debut and making a comic for Skybound. I'm trying to see if they have any details about the
comic.
What
I was going to say. Do we know anything like what it is?
Yeah, it looks like it's a dark fantasy epic with corpse night. So it's about a young girl named Foy who lives a quiet life, shatters when a tragedy strikes her family. So I'll say there's nothing there that feels something we haven't seen before, but the visuals look cool. I think that the covers look interesting. It really depends on how they and also the art for the interiors, if you look down, look really good. So I think it just has to do with how they stick the landing on that one.
True.
Yeah, for sure. I really like the Conjuring movies, so that's why this one caught my interest. But no, I agree with you. It's like on the core concept of it, it's not super original, but the art is kind of cool. We'll just have to see what the story's actually like.
I'd pick up the first issue because I feel like also Skybound hasn't really let us down.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's get into something I wanted to talk about. Two things I want to talk about. So first is Kevin Smith is returning to DC Comics and doing a Bizarro Year One, which I loved Kevin Smith's.
I found it comical when I heard the headline.
Right? Yeah, it's also like such a weird combination, but I'm curious about it because Bizarro hasn't had a year one. We've seen Superman, we've seen Batman, we've seen Robin, and then also Kevin Smith. I loved his Green Arrow run, so I'm just curious by it. Do I think I'll love it? I don't know, but
it's Bizarro though. Like, does he really need a year one? Like, do we need to know about that?
I agree, but because it's Kevin Smith, I'm like, oh, they have the name attached. I guess let's see what it's about. But yeah, if it was like anyone else, I would have been like, I'm probably not gonna pick that up.
It is it's also by Eric Carrasco from that did Supergirl.
Okay.
So and Nick Pitara is the artist on it. So I'll definitely pick it up, and I don't know. I'm not excited about it, but at the same time, it's Kevin Smith. It's kind of interesting. I like what it says here. It says, "Me, I'm not excited for new comics," said Bizarro. Bizarro, you're none, and worst thing to happen. I love that.
You always got to go into that mindset of everything's going to be opposite and everything's going to be backwards.
And that's not always the most fun to read for a whole miniseries, but we will see. The other thing I want to talk about is Avatar: The Last Airbender, or again, the Kyoshi Warriors. But what I thought was interesting about this, because I normally wouldn't talk about it, is that Avatar up to this point has only done graphic novels, and they're releasing this as a mini series. So they're doing it with single issues. And it's been kind of a while since Avatar has had a new story in any way. So I just thought this is why did they change the format? In a good way. I think they're trying to tackle a different audience you could always collect after. I'm always curious by big franchises only doing graphic novels. I'm like, it almost feels like you're skipping a step, right? You're not hitting the Wednesday Warriors and trying to make money off the floppies. But then I guess, because I feel like with trades, if you're making all the money making a trade or with a graphic novel, then you have to sink all your costs into one thing. If you're sinking your costs into the individual issues, obviously printing's a cost, but you're also trying to make money to make the comics. So I always find that to be weird when they like skip that step,
Right. Yeah. I wonder if it's, if it has anything to do with now there's a live action series and that kind of thing. And
I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah. Or because it's been a long time since they've released anything. I mean, they're like, we got to try something new.
Maybe.
I just thought that was interesting. Okay. Let's go into, I'm going to skip some of the Spider-Man stuff because there's actually a good amount of Spider-Man stuff. Let's talk about X-23 steps out of Wolverine's shadow as Marvel teases more Weapon X threats. The one thing I'll say about this is just like a lot of things that Marvel has come up with, and we'll talk about the Carnage thing in a bit, just feels, even when it's new, feels recycled. Like, yeah, maybe we haven't seen 20 X-Men, 20 Wolverine before, but hell have I seen new Wolverines before or new characters of someone we already know. And I'm just like, it just doesn't excite me,
Well, when all new Wolverine was released, how many different versions of Laura were there in the beginning of that series? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And only one stuck in the end.
And Gabby was the only one that wound up living or hanging around. So again, this seems like it's going to be kind of a similar fashion here.
Yeah.
And it's the same creative team who's been doing the X-23 stuff, which I hadn't, been that excited about.
Who is it?
Think so.
Jody Houser's been writing X-23?
I'm pretty sure, but maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was Erica Schultz that had been writing it.
You're right. Erica Schultz has been writing it. Thanks for correcting me. I always get they have such similar tones to their writing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I always get them a little confused. But you are right. I think Erica Schultz was writing it. So now Jody Houser is on it. Which I do like Jody Houser's writing. I think she's a solid writer. But I also thought and think Erica Schultz is a solid writer, and I didn't love her run.
Right, exactly, and that's what I was going to say. I really like Jody Houser's writing too, but I it might surround what you're talking about this particular character. They just keep going back to the same thing with her, right?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I was laughing
right.
at that
Yeah,
No,
same.
I
comment.
I was
see
looking
it.
at
I
that
see it
too.
now, yeah.
But we do have 10,000 versions of
Yeah, we do.
Wolverine too.
Yeah, we do.
Wolverine,
Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
Laura.
it could be because they just keep going back to the Weapon X stuff with her. It's always tied into that.
Which is so
Nothing new.
interesting because I feel like Laura's been at her best when Tom Taylor was writing her, which was so like, yeah, you had Gabby, but like a lot of her story just had to be like, I'm in an apartment hanging out with this Wolverine pet and Gabby, and we're just hanging and trying to be superheroes. That was so much more interesting to me than seeing her as, the experiment, because we've just seen it so many times.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, they should just call her like her title should be just Laura Kenny or something instead of just X-23 or Generation X-23. We're trying to go with that title,
Yeah,
like
just like
Generation X.
Yeah, just like Miles Morales Spider-Man. Just call her Laura Kinney Wolverine.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. It hasn't been confusing yet. I feel like Laura and Wolverine don't even hang out that much. So it's just like, I think it makes sense.
Mike Manhattan said, Marvel, we know you're going to buy it. Well, yeah, sure. We're definitely going to buy it. Doesn't mean that we're super excited about it, though.
But see, with the X-23 one, though, if I'm getting 20 books or a massive amount of books that week, I feel like that's an easy skip for me. I'm just like, okay, seen this before. Bye. I don't know if it is like, if it's not a lot of comics, I'm like, yeah, sure, let me try it out. It's a new issue 1. But I do think I'm on the fence with something like this.
I think for her, she's more of my higher tier characters that I'll give a try to. Like, if I look at the Rogue individual or the Psylocke individual and say I look at her, like she would be my number 1 out of those 3. Yeah, because I just find her a little bit more interesting. I like her character. I like Gabby, and if it's done right, it can be a halfway decent comic.
Well, that's something interesting about next week. I feel like I'm getting an okay amount of comics. That's mostly because a lot of the new issue ones that I have no interest. Like Psylocke, I know Brant likes, so I know you'll get that. I've never had interest in Psylocke, and Rogue has been like so much Rogue in this new generation of X-Men. I'm not that interested in a Rogue issue 1, so I'm probably not going to get it unless you guys are like, you got to pick up this issue 1,
That's the thing, though. There's characters from Uncanny X-Men. There's a couple of the new kids that are in it, so I'm not sure you'll get it, Mike, because Death Dream and I think Ransom are in it.
They're in the Rogue comic?
Yeah, they're in the Rogue comic. I looked on League of Comic Geeks and they were listed in the characters that were in the issue.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they might be mentioned. Maybe it'll be like 1 page,
It could be just a cameo, yeah.
Yeah.
But it ties into Haven House too. So I don't know.
Oh, see, like it's tying into so many things in this issue 1. Someone asked which Psylocke it is. I'm pretty sure it's the Asian one, not the.
It's a nostalgia one. I think it is. It's going back to the time of Jim Lee X-Men. Right?
I thought it was continuing off of the series that just ended.
Oh, is it? I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. I just that was my guess.
That's how lost we all are on the X-Men. Like, what is this issue 1? Because it's spinning out. It feels like it isn't spinning out anything too exciting. So it's not like, oh my god, I need to get Psylocke issue 1.
Yeah, it is Quanon though, I think, which is the Asian one, I do believe. But
and she was in the last one.
Yeah.
Or is it the white one inside the Asian one? Which I think isn't that like an arc that played out that they were like sharing a body or something?
Yeah, they were.
Someone says they're looking forward to Psylocke because of Tim Seeley. That was one thing that almost convinced me because I love Tim Seeley about him. It's like I've never liked Psylocke. So unless people are like, this is a 5 out of 5,
no,
I can't.
This is a flashback to when they were the same person. This is Betsy Braddock.
So they are.
Betsy Braddock, mutant X-Men ninja, flashback to a time when Psylocke was reborn into the ultimate killing machine. That's the first line. So
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who knows? I don't know.
We'll find out when you guys.
I might have it in my pull list, so we'll see what happens. You know, it's new number 1, so you gotta talk about it.
Yeah, of course.
Dr. Reed Richards says, any of you guys picking up Wolverine game in the future? Unfortunately, it'll probably cost 200 since that's the normal now. I've never even heard of that one. Which one is that?
Yeah.
Wolverine game. in the future, issue 1. I don't know what that is. You guys will have to let me know.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
Yeah, unless maybe it's a comic attached to like because I'm seeing
the Wolverine game, the video game.
Oh, so not the comic.
Is that what
the
you're
game,
talking about?
the video? If that's the video game, then the video game looks pretty badass. I saw
I'll check that
trailer for that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. Jeez.
Oh, that looks sick. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer was so bloody. It's amazing. It's so good.
I think I'm right now getting for February Resident Evil. That's gonna be the game I kind of focus on. But then after that, I probably get Wolverine. I like having something to kind of play that's not work related in any way.
I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 a lot lately. It's the
I
first
feel like
time
that's one that's like evergreen. Like I've heard that one a lot before.
It's a really good game. Yeah.
We got done with the Resident Evil playthrough again, and now me and my son are playing Metroid Prime, the new one.
Which
Switch.
Resident Evil were you playing?
4. We were replaying
4.
it again.
Yeah,
4 is
4
the best.
Well, Leon is in this new one. He's going to be the main character, which I'm stoked for. And
he's going to be older now.
He has
the best one-liners, man. It's like the guy is so hilarious in that game.
I love Leon. I love Resident Evil. And if you guys didn't know, the guy who did Barbarian, the director, and Weapons, is doing a Resident Evil movie this year.
Oh,
like he's
really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm like really excited for that.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So it's a good time to be a Resident Evil fan. And I believe it's coming out this year. At least it's planned to come out this year.
So maybe it won't be as cheesy. I mean, I like the Resident Evil movies. But
yeah,
me too.
They're pretty cheesy, man. Yeah.
You gotta like them for what they are. I think the first 2 are actually good horror movies, and then after that, you gotta really just take them for what they are.
Exactly.
But I'm very excited for the game, excited for the movie. So we'll maybe talk about it here. Yeah. All right, let's get into Zatanna and Firestorm's created teams are announced. So for Zatanna, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's the same creative team that was on the other series. So I don't think it's
I think the most recent
very
one,
different.
I think.
Yeah, the most recent one. It's the artist who is also the writer, which I didn't love the most recent one. But what I'm stoked for is Firestorm is written by Jeff Lemire, and Raphael de la Tour is doing the art, and my girl Firehawk is in there. Like, she has not been shown in like 20 years. So I'm stoked for that. So I'm really, really excited.
And I can see Jeff Lemire writing this very well because character in his head, you know what I'm saying? I can see that going in a lot of different ways. I have high hopes for this book. I hope it will succeed.
Yeah.
Me too. It looks cool.
I'm right there with both of you on both of these. Like the last Zatanna one, it was okay, but it wasn't anything to write home about. But this Firestorm one, I mean, not only Jeff Lemire, but the art looks really good in it.
Yeah, I agree. And the coloring looked really good.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Firestorm. Yeah. We do have another question from Mike Manhattan. Have you seen the animated Resident Evil movies? I've seen 1 or 2. I've definitely have not seen all of them.
I haven't seen them.
Same. I've seen 1 or 2.
They're fine. They're like direct DVD type movies.
Right.
All right, let's get into these bigger topics here. So first we'll start with the Superman, Spider-Man created teams were revealed. So I'm going to go down those quickly and we'll kind of talk one by one. But Dan Slott is going to be writing a Spider-Man noir story with Marcos Martin on art. Geoff Johns is returning to tell a story with Gary Frank where Spider-Man clashes with Mysterio, it looks like. For Super and Spider-Man
real quick, man.
Right?
I would love to see that as like, can you imagine if Geoff Johns took a Spider-Man book and had Gary Frank on it? Dream team right there.
Yeah. I'm just hoping it's not like 3 pages. Like,
right.
Like, why is that not the main story? Like, that's crazy. I don't think it is the main story either. I forget who's writing the main story. I'm guessing maybe it's still Grant Morrison, but yeah, I would want that to be the main. Going back to Dan Slott, so maybe we'll just go one by one. Dan Slott is interesting because he's been on Spider-Man and Superman now, but I don't think any of us are reading his Superman run. It was very too new reader friendly. So
it's consistently one of those books where it's just kind of like one and done stories or 1 or 2 issues, which for a lot of people that may not be a problem. And it's not really a problem for me, but I was reading so much Superman that I was like, well, I like this Superman, but it's not like I love it. So I decided to drop it.
Yeah.
No, I did too. So,
I did.
Any other Dan Slott fans? I think his writing is either you love it or hate it. I tend to like Dan Slott's writing, but I don't always love his writing.
Right.
I'm sure it will be fine. It's a Spider-Man. You said Spider-Man Noir, right? So, yes, I mean, Spider-Man it is Noir. What it is. What you expect with Spider-Man Noir, you know?
Yeah.
Now, this one's super interesting. Jason Aaron and Russell Doderman are doing a Metropolis Jane Foster Wonder Woman story, which is so interesting because every other story is Spider-Man and Superman, and then you have Jane Foster Wonder Woman. I'm not complaining because I love this creative team on Jane Foster, but like it's a weird slot for this book.
Yeah.
It is a weird slot, but I mean it's Jane Foster's Thor.
Right.
So I mean that's really cool to see her match up with Wonder Woman. I'm excited for that, but it is weird,
Like
that
I'll
could be one of
it.
those ones where it's 2 pages.
Yeah, I mean
if it is, I'll be upset.
They're fighting symbiotes. A symbiote storm in Metropolis. It's so weird.
I mean, I'm still looking forward to it. This is Louise Simonson and Todd Newalk is doing a steal against Hobgoblin. This one I feel like will be shorter just because it's going to be very like old school. I feel it's good because even Todd's art style is very old school. And Steel and Hobgoblin, who are definitely side characters,
can you actually do with
right?
Steel.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
You can't do much there.
Then
and
we
Todd
have.
Knox, I was just going to say, Todd Knox art style is very cartoony too.
Yeah. And again, very Silver Age as well.
Right. Yeah.
We have a question from Tavia. Do you think Tom King writing Mary Jane and Lois Lane? Because personally, for me, I'm excited for that, given the recent track record. I don't remember him writing them. I guess that's how he is, but I don't see it in this list that he's writing them. But maybe in a previous
I would think
one,
even if he was, it's one story. I don't think it'll be a problem for one little story.
No, I agree. We have 2 more creative teams here. So Joe Kelly, who's writing Spider-Man now, and Humberto Ramos, very famous for writing Spider-Man, is doing a crossover with Gwen Stacy and Lana Lang. See, that one I'm more excited for because these are characters
I like that one a lot.
Right? Because like Lois and Mary Jane, you kind of predict is going to happen. But Lana and Gwen, they got a lot. Like Lana's tough, and so is Gwen's version now. Maybe not previously, depending on which version you're going to play with her. But yeah, I actually am really excited for that one. I don't know how I feel with Joe Kelly just because he's kind of mid-tier for me when it comes to his writing, just for my personal preferences. But I am excited for Humberto Ramos.
I mean, Kelly's done some really strong, short Spider-Man stories. It's just his longer form stuff is a little bit less exciting. So hopefully this is one of those short, really solid ones. But
I agree. Now we have one more, and this is Bendis and Sarah Petrelli reuniting for Miles Morales with Superman. So, I mean, there's a lot of just Superman stories, but I mean, Bendis returning on Miles is huge. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm so much more excited for this one than the previous one, which obviously like makes sense because we're all very big Spider-Man fans here. But I do like Batman. I don't know where they faltered there.
Well, when you got Deadpool, I think with Batman, I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Had it been
and all the other heroes they had to do too. They had to like do so many heroes that weren't related to just one family.
Right. Yeah. Had it been like, I don't know what other character would have been better. I think Wolverine would have even been better.
I think Wolverine would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Or the X-Men in general.
Yeah.
All right. Now we got 2 more stuff here. So we got Norman Osborn training the Spider-Verse people in a new miniseries. I got to see who's writing this because I don't remember. Let's see.
I'm not a fan of that.
It's Jordan Morris from Good Mythical Morning, and Joe Kelly is also writing in Perry Perez. So it's going to be a pretty spin-off series. But what were you going to say, Mike?
I was going to say, I'm like not a fan of it. It makes me feel like this is like Batman, where it's like he's Bruce Wayne and he's training all his Robins. That's what it makes it feel to me. Like he's the old wise man. He's like, come on, guys, I'm going to train you. But you've been Spider-Man all of 2 seconds and you're going to train all these spider people? Like, come on, man.
And also they have more experience,
right? That is the weird thing about it.
I feel like I'll give it a shot. I'm hoping it's good, but I feel hesitant because the only parts of Norman's story I've disliked so far is when he was with the other spider heroes, because they all were just like ganging up against him, and it just wasn't very interesting. But like when he was talking to people like J. Jonah Jameson, that was so much more interesting to me, because that's somebody that feels normal that Norman would talk to.
I want to see how they make it make sense, because like you all said, they're more experienced than he is, and they didn't want anything to do with him being, with the spider people and all this stuff. So I don't know how this comes about.
Especially Miles Myers, HQ mentions that. It's like, why isn't Miles there? It's like Miles has so much experience.
Yeah.
Here's a good point. Mike Manhattan says, he said, to be fair, he said, who else better to train spider people than the guy who fought the OG Spider-Man multiple times?
And sometimes defeated him. So if they go that angle, I think that'll be interesting. And I hope they do. I mean, again, I think all three of us are going to pick it up. I just don't know if this is the most exciting.
I guess we'll see. I mean, they're trying to do stuff different. So, I give them credit for that at least.
Well, let's talk about different, where I don't think this is different enough. We're going to talk about our topic, that Spider-Man is becoming Carnage. And I just don't, first of all, spoiling your freaking ending.
Oh, why?
Right?
Like, why didn't you just wait for that to be revealed in the story? Because we're going to talk about DCKO, and the amount of stuff that happened in that book that was not spoiled, I thought made that issue a lot better. But going into Spider-Man, and also, why is he Carnage? It's like such the opposite of Peter's character, but not in an interesting way. Like, and again, I know when MJ became Venom, we're all like, how's that going to work? And then it ended up working perfectly for her. But Venom's funny. Carnage is.
So what does it mean for Eddie?
Right? I don't know.
What does it mean for Mary Jane? Does it mean the symbiote goes back to Eddie and then the Carnage symbiote goes to Peter? Like,
which is so much less interesting, because
like,
the thing is, MJ has to be. Go on, Mike.
No, I was going to say, obviously, there's a lot of questions, right? And you want those questions answered. But I would agree with you here. Why do you spoil the ending? Even if it might not be an ending that you want, at least you're surprised, whether it's good or bad, right?
More people buy that issue too, because they're like, oh my God, that's how you get a spec book, because you're not promoting it ahead of time. So it's just like people don't know to pick it up, and they're like, oh my God, it's sold out. And maybe like for readers, maybe it's like better that there's more. But I don't know. I mean, it's also kind of fun when things sell out, because it's like, oh my God, it was so surprising that it sold out so quickly. But yeah, I feel like if let's say Mary Jane's taken off the field, like that doesn't make sense to me, because I think the reason why she's fun right now is because they didn't know what to do with her, and they kind of finally figured it out. With Peter, he's Spider-Man. You know what to do with him already.
Right.
He's always gonna be Spider-Man.
I mean, it's like they just can't let him be Spider-Man. They just can't let him be who he is. Like, they're doing everything else but that, right?
Well, think about the space story too. If you read that, nothing's happening in that book. They're just like, I guess he's got to be in space for no reason.
He can't grow as a character, so they got to change him around by giving him different suits, and he's in different places. But him as Peter never changes, and so it's like, and when you look at the Carnage symbiote, when you look at the way the Carnage book ended, it very much, like the way it ended, it seemed like it ended on a story arc more than a finale. And it was kind of upsetting. It's I don't know, man. He definitely doesn't need to be Carnage, and that's not going to stick. And even if it did happen, I would have again loved to see it just be a surprise. And
him being Dr. Octopus makes more sense to me. Like,
let Paul be Carnage.
Let Paul be. It's just like,
that would make a lot more sense, actually.
100%. Like, there's other things you could do, but then also, like, it's sad that I'm enjoying Norman being Spider-Man more than Peter Parker in his own book.
Peter's not doing anything.
This. Right.
He's just hooking up with some alien chick out in space, and that's
also doesn't care about you, and not even enough fun, not even a way where it's like, oh, we're just hooking up, like no strings attached. It's just like he cares so much, and she's like, I don't like you.
No, it's like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
It's so sad.
I love who you are because you have a nice heart.
Yeah,
you're a good person, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
It's just
But your weekend, I want nothing to do with it.
We'll talk about another Spider-Man book when the comics come, but it's like it's sad to see when they like go to nostalgia stuff and it reads better than the Amazing Spider-Man.
But this is Marvel's track record. They always spoil stuff like this. They've been doing it for years.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. But and what makes it worse, Brant, is like the event hasn't even started yet, and you're already spoiling. Yeah, it's so bad. You know,
it makes no sense. It's like, hey, come check out this cool story we're telling about a serial killer, and this is what happens in the end. You still want to read it?
I guess it's because they don't have belief enough that people are going to pick up the book. I guess they're like, oh my God, if people find out Peter is Carnage, more people will get it. But if I'm being honest with you, I think less people are going to get it now because they're like, oh, I know the ending and I don't want to see Peter Parker as Carnage. Because look, with Spider-Man, the people who are hardcore like us are always going to pick it up. But for the people on the fence, I don't think that's going to convince anyone to buy it.
No, but it will get people to pick up that one issue just for the collectability of it.
Yeah,
but wouldn't that happened later?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that happened anyways once it was revealed?
Probably. Most likely.
Especially if they just tell comic book stores, like, you really want to get an order a lot of these because something big happens, you know?
No, I agree with you. I'm trying to get inside their heads, and that's the only thing that makes sense, but you're right. So.
You know, I was reading an issue of Spider-Man the other day, old Web of Spider-Man issue, because I had to do it for a video of mine. I think it was Web of Spider-Man issue 29, where like Spider-Man teamed up with Wolverine. And I think, what was it, Ned Leeds had died or whatever it is. And there's the Kingpin and there's Hobgoblin in there. I'm like, my God, this book is so different from what it is today. It's just night and day. It's like you look at Spider-Man back then, it was like dark, it's gritty. It's just like the villains are scary. They feel like they have a purpose. There's a reason why Spider-Man is Spider-Man. It's just completely different. You know, it's just so like a former shell of himself. And it's really sad in so many ways. I will always support the character just because I love the character, but it is very frustrating.
No, I agree. It's just because, but also on the positive side, I do feel like this is better than maybe 2 years ago with Spider-Man. Like, I do think Zeb Wells' Spider-Man was a little more boring. Like this, I'll give that more is happening in it. Like, I do think they're trying something different. And I remember almost with Zeb Wells run, again, nothing against him. It's just the way it ended up being. I'm sure editorial had a standpoint in it too, but there was issues that I had to give like 1 star because you had Romita Jr.'s art, which is not my favorite, and then his writing, and nothing would happen in it. And it's like I feel like the book was a little bit lower than it is now. Now I don't think it's as high as like Nick Spencer's beginning of his run by any means, but I think it's a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
I mean, the only thing about Joe Kelly is why did he decide to put Spider-Man in space? Because he had nothing to do with like he couldn't. He's like, I don't know what to do with this guy, so I'm just going to stick him in space.
Maybe, I don't know. It's like we got to focus on Norman because we want to do this spin-off series. So do something with Spider-Man. He just can't be in the book. He can't be in the main story. Get him out of here.
I like get him him to space. This is a very funny hindsight's 2020 comment. Tevye says, I miss Nick Spencer so much on Spider-Man. Because I remember like when Kindred was there, so Tevye, us were all like, oh my God, hate Kindred. And now you look back and you're like, well, it was a little better than this.
Wasn't that bad?
But obviously, like, that's like context, right? But it's also like, well, it still wasn't great, but because of what we've been getting, we were like, that wasn't that bad. Cool. I mean, that's all our news. Before we jump into comic stuff, I do have some Kickstarters to share. So let's get to it. We're going to share this one first. This actually just launched today. I did not write this one. This is published by our company, but is not written by us, but is such a good story by Zoe Tennell and Lauren Knight. It's about a PI who's a vampire, and there's a twist ending to kind of get you hooked to maybe the romance and where it's going. But if you like noir and vampires, it's really fun to be publishing a book where we write a lot of vampire stories, really, or a lot of supernatural stories, but this feels so different than anything else we've written. So check that one out.
It also has like the aesthetic reminds me of Jessica Jones a little bit.
Yeah, and the writing is too. Like if you like Jessica Jones, I really, really recommend it. It's also not safe for work, so if you like sexy books, check that one out. I'm going to post that. And then if, again, these are all vampire books, which I'll get to a point of why they're all vampire books this month. But let's get into, let's do Beast and Snow. I'm going to get to next. This is our fairy tale books that me and Phil write. It is about Belle, who is a werewolf, and Snow is a vampire. And now they're going up against a hybrid version of the Evil Queen. So she is a vampire / werewolf. So if you like supernatural stuff, you like twists and turns, action, I think you'll like Beast and Snow. And then I have one very last Kickstarter because I promised, like I said, there's a theme. They're all vampire books, so you're going to get something out of that. All right, so this one's Love at Second Bite. It is a BL story where you get to see a gloomy vampire and a sunny vampire, get together. And the gloomy vampire could go in the sun. The sunny vampire can't go in the sun. Now, if you get all 3 of these series, you will get, I'm going to get to the cover if I can find it. Where is this cover? Let's see if I can find it on this page. Hold on. Here it is. If you get all 3 comics, you will get an exclusive metal cover featuring all 3 characters for the month of February. So hopefully guys can go check all those out. And that's all the Kickstarters. So we are going to go into comic books, which I didn't have a ton this week. I didn't have like a little, but I also don't feel like it was a huge week this week. I don't know if you guys felt the same.
I think I had like 18. I think I had.
And that's, I feel like, pretty smaller for you.
I had more, but I had like 23.
Or 18 or 19, I think it was. I think that was. I forgot. I didn't include Avengers in there. I did read it. I had to read it digitally since I didn't get my full copy. All right, so let's get into it, guys. So first thing we'll talk about is 3 big books here, but we'll talk about the least spectacular one. I didn't mark it because I wasn't sure if I was going to read it, but I did, and that was Avengers issue 800. So obviously it's a legacy issue celebrating 800 issues of the Avengers, and the main story was just a whole catch up of everything that has happened in the entire run, just in case you didn't read the series. So it was
but
very
also
boring.
Felt so outside of, like, if you haven't been reading the series, it's just like, oh, it's not what I expect from the Avengers.
You're
so it's just like, who was it for?
It was a complete standing around, just talking issue, just talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, okay, just for this grail to backfire on Kang so the Avengers could take possession of it. But somehow Kang comes up to where he's like, well, I can still reshape the entire world, and twirls his mustache at the end, and and it's just like, I'm gonna keep going. So there's one more issue of this at the end.
I think there's 2 more, right? I think there's the penultimate, and I think next one's the finale. I think there's 2 more issues.
I don't remember. Yeah, I think you might be right, actually.
Because I was trying to figure out if this was the finale or not.
Yeah, no, I thought there was one more after this one.
I'm gonna look right now. It is, it's 2 more.
Yeah.
2 more. All right.
For anybody that hasn't been reading this is the same story they've been telling since issue 1 that started in Timeless. That I even recognized some of the stories from the beginning, right?
And I'm like, okay, I read this point. They're talking about the vampire story. They're talking about this, and then there got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't remember this part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I was like, oh, this is where I dropped it. Okay,
right, exactly. I can say which was issue 25 is when I dropped it. The story with Bendis had a very traditional Avengers feel. Now, obviously, it's completely left field from anything that's going on, period. But it is a period piece where, again, it touches on old school Avengers. They activate the old card, the old pass, and with them all showing up at this scene to do battle against Hydra, it was comical. They're interacting with each other. Thor is talking about, oh, let me take her out. And they're like, no, you can't do that yet. And he's like, yes, let me do it. And it was like, you could tell that Bendis put some comedic relief or some personality in the Avengers, which I feel like has been lacking from Jed McKay's run. I can tell you that even from not reading the entire series. And I was like, if Bendis did come back to the Avengers, it would be interesting to see what he would do with, this version of them.
Yeah. I just felt, but then it also just felt so disjointed in that regard because you did have that story, but also like that, obviously that story possibly couldn't do anything. It just, it didn't pull at the heartstrings either. So it was just like, I just didn't really know what this book was for.
That story was just a celebration of the Avengers. That's a backup story. The rest of it was, I mean, if you haven't been reading the book, I mean, you'd be completely lost if you didn't know any of that stuff that was going on. You're just like getting overloaded. But you're right, Mike. This entire story has been plot driven instead of character driven.
Which is so weird for Jed McKay, like we've mentioned.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this is the book where I think he just really dropped the ball, and I noticed it just very early. It's just a rinse and repeat over and over again. And I think I think he just got too much on his plate between Avengers and X-Men and the events that happened before that. And just like, I think Avengers is just the book where he's just like, that's why I think he's leaving it, to tell you the truth. Because he's still doing Moon Knight. He could have left Moon Knight and stuck with Avengers. So there's that.
What's he working on after? I feel like they've announced it, but maybe they didn't. Did they? Maybe they didn't. I thought they announced another Jed McKay book.
I don't remember. They may have.
Does it have to do with one of the Armageddon event or something?
Maybe. I feel like in the back of my head,
I feel like you're right. There is something else.
Whatever it is, it was obviously not in our minds too much.
He's writing Nova Centurion right now too. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Someone asked if it was Sentry. It could have been Sentry.
Was it Sentry? It might.
Let's see. That might be it. Because I'm like, I remember it was like recently too that was announced. Yeah, it's Sentry.
Okay.
He's working on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's just a 4-issue miniseries.
Still, it's another project, right?
Exactly.
Do, so.
Meyer says it's not Sentry, but I just looked it up, and he is writing a Sentry book.
Yeah, he's not right. They're probably thinking of the Paul Jenkins one, so I guess it's a different Sentry. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Maybe he's not wearing Sentry because I see it here. So, no, he's right. It is Paul Jenkins who's writing it. But I wish I could. I'm going to screen share it for you guys because what it looks like on Google sucks. So I have the article here. Before clicking it, I see the Sentry 4-issue miniseries, Sentry Co-Paul, and I see Jed McKay. So I was like, oh, he's writing Sentry. So Myers was correct. So thank you for correcting me on that. No, you are correct. No bad on that. Cool. I think that's Avengers.
Yeah.
Don't get it, right?
All right, so let's dive in, Brant. Let's talk about Transformers issue 28. So, man, let me tell you, this book is just hitting it on all cylinders now. Last week we had the show where we talked about Mask, right? We're like, oh, is Mask making its way?
Oh,
and I would say that this issue definitely confirms that, as you get to see. And we were talking about it. We were talking the jet, we were talking the helicopter, we were talking about the masks themselves, and you see all of that in this issue. And I was like, oh my God, that's freaking crazy. And then the end of this book with Megatron. Oh my Lord, how brutal.
Yeah. I mean, not just that too, like going back to the mask stuff, they mentioned Matt Tracker at the end too.
Yes.
Like, we called Matt Tracker. We backed the wrong horse here. So yeah, we've got Mask definitely coming in full force. But yeah, Megatron, what the heck is going on with the dude? He's going like, feral or something. And he's like he's talking about people. Nobody knows what he's talking about. And
he suffered the same effects that Prime had.
Prime did, from the
right. And so maybe now it's making him even more crazy. I don't know, but dude, him taking out that Autobot and then basically eating the energon from his brain. I'm like, that is insane. How I just wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. It's like there's this. Well, I don't want to spoil that, but yeah, no, it's like they were looking for that particular that Autobot. They were like, "Where'd Trailmaker go?" And then all of
Yeah,
a sudden, it's like, well, now we know
there
where
you
he.
go.
That was crazy, man.
Yeah.
And we saw going back to Miles Mayhem and Mask, we saw the Blade Jet, the helicopter plane come into play here as well. So that was fun. And
That's what was great about it. Because again,
yeah,
we were talking about that last week of like
right.
the toys and everything else, and there it was. I was like, oh my God, they just showcased it. That was like a moment like when I saw Jetfire in Void Rivals for the first time for me.
Yeah, exactly. It
All
was a
right.
really good issue, yeah.
Yeah,
And Dan
absolutely.
Moore's the art is just gorgeous as
Yes.
well. It feels like fresh, but at the same time, it's very reminiscent of like old school Transformers with the plain faces and everything.
Yes.
So,
Um, someone messaged me on my channel today saying that issue 31 of Transformers, we're going to get the artist, I think, who does Ghost Pepper. I think it
oh,
is.
really?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. Um, and so I looked it up of who it was. I totally forgot the guy's name.
Ludo Lullaby.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
You know, and so I was like, and so I looked up all his art and he's done other he's done covers and
Yeah.
I've seen and I'm like, looks pretty good, you know. He
Yeah.
has a more, I would say, dynamic, or maybe I should say like exaggerated poses for his
Mhm.
characters.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see if it's like a mix between like Jorge Corona or Daniel Warren Johnson's and uh Dan Mora here. So
Yeah.
I'll be interested in that.
Ghost Pepper's got good art. I've read a few issues of that series, so yeah, that'll be an
Y-
interesting change.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. So, oh yeah, he's used them on Void Rivals. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So next we'll move on to what we got. DCKO issue 3. Man, I never saw. Well, I did know about the tag team stuff because they talked about it on in the synopsis about them teaming up with heroes, but you didn't know who the heroes were going to be. I thought they were going to be with each other, not with
Mm.
somebody that has already been eliminated and
Right.
someone with the most omega energy can team up from with anybody on there. It was just completely unpredictable. And this goes back to what we were talking about when it came to spoiling stuff before a series is even out. And, you know, you didn't know any of that stuff. And we didn't know the end either of this issue. And you saw the ending, and I was like, oh wow, they're really going here with this.
You're muted, Cat.
You're muted, Cat.
Not just that, the some of the cameos that happened here. Well, I think what we should say, it's been a week. We will spoil the book if you guys have not read it, if that's okay, just so we could talk about the ending and some of the characters that show up. But the Joker who laughs, seeing that, I thought was really interesting because I wasn't expecting him. And then the ending being that the absolute heroes are going to be in the tournament. And for some reason, I didn't see it coming just because I thought they were going to build that universe more before they got into the regular universe. But that's so
Yeah.
cool. And that's why I think DC is like 10 times past Marvel now because they built that universe so concretely to make that exciting. And again,
Yeah.
there are so many. If you only knew about the absolute part in the end, there's still so much other stuff in the issue that doesn't even spoil the whole comic. Like there's
Right.
so
Yeah.
much stuff in this issue that it's hard to
Right.
spoil this whole comic.
And not only that, just seeing the absolute characters there, it's also cool because the only two that have actually met are Batman and Wonder Woman. The
Sure.
rest of them
Yes.
have not, and this is the first time they're together. And it's like, oh, okay,
I wonder if
so
that's canon and how they'll be canon. But knowing
right,
Scott Snyder, I feel like there is a timeline that will be explained because he's involved in
sure.
both projects.
Yeah, plus they're redoing the entire world, right? Like
Mm,
at the end of this tournament, it's getting rewritten, so that's gonna
sure.
kind of get written out, I would assume. But
But I,
either
I
way,
was
it's
reading
cool.
I was reading this on a plane and like my mouth was aghast like so many times. what's going on here? It's just like I just like haven't read a comic in like that in a really long in a
and
while.
the team ups
honestly.
were very interesting too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like the logic with Lex Luthor teaming up with Supergirl was super interesting, and he's just sitting back watching her do all the work, and I was laughing at that, right? And then the Joker, you know, you think, oh yeah, he's taking the Batman Who Laughs, and then it's just like takes freaking Mitzelplick, and I'm like, what is that happening right now, you know? And it's like I just was shaking my head. I couldn't believe it. And then like Cyborg picking Connor Hawk out of all people.
Right.
Yeah, that was a
really
choice. Yeah.
That's so very interesting. And then I found it very I guess I would say very heroic of Aquaman picking Hawkman since they fought in the previous rounds, showing the respect that he had for him to make him his partner. So that was kind of cool too. But yeah, overall, it's a great issue, man. I really, really enjoyed it.
I think the only thing I have a nitpick for, and I'm curious as it goes on, is that again, I feel like the people moving on from the challenges are really obvious. It's like Wonder Woman, Joker, Superman, and I forget who the other one is, but it's just like Lex, I think.
Batman's gonna make its way back.
Batman will make it, but those are all like so obvious. Like I just wish, and they could, because obviously there's been so many twisted turns. I just want like one person that doesn't make that isn't the Trinity or isn't the Trinity's bad guy. I just like that's the one nitpick I've had with DCKO is just like that's been obvious.
And I agree with you on that too. It's like that is the one thing though, but aside from that, it's been phenomenal in the twists and turns and. Like you said, Mike, it's like we like to be surprised. Don't spoil it for us.
Yeah.
Let us.
I don't even mind if you spoil it on Wednesday because you want to sell the comic.
Well, that's different. That's different because it's release day.
Early,
It's release day, but before it comes out, I mean, even before a series comes out, you're spoiling the event. Because, like you said, you're afraid that the book is not going to sell. Why wouldn't it not sell? It's just
and you have that much faith, then why should we pick it up?
Right.
It's like it's almost like trying to force a spec book. And it's like
exactly. You're trying to like, oh look, Peter Parker's Carnage. Oh, whoop-de-doo. He's another symbiote. Like we've never seen that one before, you know.
No.
All right. So let's move on then with our top 5. Kicking it off with number 5. I will start with Mr. Fowler this week.
Mine is actually Dungeons of Doom, issue 1. And
I didn't pick that one up.
It's a good book.
I really like the continuation of that story. It was basically the continuation of Red Hulk's story in a way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is it a mini or is it just a one shot?
It's a mini.
It's a mini, but it's still written by Benjamin Percy, who wrote the Red Hulk series. So, they go into the dungeon, and like they're not the only ones. There's like several different groups of people that are going into the dungeon trying to find the mysteries of Doom, and they encounter some really creepy and weird stuff and experiments, and something even Professor Xavier had hidden away down there. So there's all kinds of twists and turns and secrets coming about from this, and it was really well structured. I like the dialogue. The art was really nice. So I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought this book was a lot of fun, just a lot of action, just seeing what was it, the freedom fighters in there. Hydra was in there, and then you got to see the people that protect Doom's castle, and they all fall to the depths of the dungeon, you know. And it's just like, as a reader, you never seen the bottoms of, you know, Doom's castle, and I think that's what makes it creepy and eerie and very suspenseful. And I like how the story was told in chapters as it's covered through each group. So I liked how it kind of guided you that way.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just, you know, I like mystery. I like, you know, intrigue and that kind of thing. And it had that in spades. And then like the warning from Professor X, you know, leave this place. You don't want to, you know, what's down here is it doesn't need to be let out and that kind of thing. So it's like, oh, what the heck is down there then?
Yeah, that was creepy, man. So, but it lived up to my expectations. I was like, oh yeah, Benjamin Percy's continuing this. It's almost what I expected.
Yeah.
And I wasn't disappointed.
Exactly.
All right. So, Kat, what was yours? Number 5.
Mine was Black Cat. I like this issue, but I know you guys probably talked about it when I wasn't here. But if it is true that this is ending, what a shame, because I feel like it is just kind of getting its groove and kind of figuring itself out. And that's why I felt here. Like I had a fun time with it, but it's not like a 5-star book because I do think it needs some time. So it's such a shame if this ends, because I feel like at 12 is when we're going to kind of get to the meat of this book.
Yeah. I mean, that and Spider-Gwen, it was an article speculating that it was ending. And it was on Bleeding Cool. So we'll see. But, you know, that would suck because when you look at G. Willow Wilson's writing and you look at the way she's written her books previously,
like Miss Marvel, Poison Ivy,
she takes her time on them, and she really develops those characters. So it's like one of those things where it's like, man, she's not even getting started, and we're going to get this book being canceled, and she's not going to be able to tell the story that she wants to tell. Because
and
if
you
read
Wilson, I'm sure it's selling okay. You know, I can't see it doing horribly.
I would think so, but it's like when you look at all the other comics out there, and yes, we're Spider-Man fans and we're also Black Cat fans. How many people are reading a Black Cat comic book? When you look at the masses of people that read comics, right? I don't know. People that are reading it though are enjoying it. So, you know, it is one of those things. But if you have history with G. Willow Wilson and you like her work, you know how she writes her stories, and this will be unfortunate if it does end.
Well, especially because I feel like give the trade a chance, right? There's such a different market for books that are trades. Like look at Runaways. I think the reason why the book lasted as long as it did with Rainbows because the trades did really well, like more than the single issues. So why not give it a chance to see if the book market likes it? Because guess what? They probably do. It's such a different audience. It's a younger audience usually. Yeah, so that's the part I don't understand. And again, we all like Black Cat here. I'm not saying this is my favorite book on stands. I don't think I'll be heartbroken if it's taken away, but I hate seeing something that has potential that could be like a Poison Ivy along the way just not have a chance because they think it's low sales, even though we're only at issue 6. And then I don't really know what is a low sale for Marvel anymore, you know? Like what's their bar? Because they cancel so many things along the way.
I don't know. Like if you're selling 80,000 copies of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, I know that book used to do way better, but say you're selling 80,000, 70,000 copies of that. What do you think a Black Cat book is selling? You know, Ultimate Spider-Man was probably selling more than the Amazing Spider-Man. So you would probably think, okay, well, Spider-Man might be my biggest seller with Ultimate Spider-Man. And then you look at all the other stuff below that. Where does Black Cat rank in that? What do you think? 20,000, 15,000, 30,000? Like, yeah, when do you cancel it? You know?
Right.
But I don't know if this is that, right? Like, I don't, because someone even just said, Mr. Negative said all the metrics of the sales is doing pretty good. Because, like, I can understand a Black Cat that doesn't have G. Willow Wilson. I'd agree to that. But a G. Willow Wilson Black Cat, I think is probably selling pretty okay.
Well, let me ask you both. It has Marvel April solicitations come out in full yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, see, that's the thing. So they've like released certain parts of it. They released like the Armageddon solicitations. They've released the Death Spiral Spider-Man stuff. And I think that's where this comes from, is that you didn't see Black Cat and Spider-Gwen in the Spider-Man.
But that could also just be because Death Spiral is not tying into them.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, you make a good point there.
Yeah, it could just be because they haven't released April's books yet, which we have issue 8 coming out in March. So
or they're relaunching them all, right?
Or they're relaunching them all.
Right.
Yeah, or they're taking a break while that event's going on.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which actually would be smart. I wouldn't mind a hiatus for something. They did that for X-Men. They did that with a lot of the books when that event was going on. But yeah, the art's good. The story is solid. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So we'll see.
Let's keep our fingers crossed that hangs around, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my number 5 is, I forgot. well, you'll know why in a little bit. Was DCKO issue 3? There was a lot of other books that I actually liked better than this. But in any probably crazy week, this would be number 1. So, for instance, this current comic book week, I feel like there's not a lot of heavy hitter books coming out. And if this came out this week, that would for sure probably be number 1.
I know you have a lot of your fan favorites for this week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move on now. Let's talk about we'll go and talk about Supergirl issue.
Grant read it.
9.
I did.
Actually. You did, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
The New Year's party has gone wrong here, right? You wind up getting Laura. Is it Laura? Cat, is that her name? She winds up getting drunk or whatever it is. Leslar, yeah, whatever. She winds up getting drunk at a party, and then she starts shrinking. It was kind of all part of the plan of what was going to happen to her, and now it looks like she's going back home, and Supergirl is not going to have her around anymore, and she's pissed off at Lena because of the situation that happened as well. And this has totally become a drama comic book, right? Now I think the next issue, the cover has it where she's like, am I ever going to find love? So yeah, this is where we're at now.
But I love that because it's really Silver Age. It's like a really Silver Age comic, but the ending is what made it really modern age because of the way the characters react. Because Silver Age, it is just like, all right, this happens, let's move on to next thing. It's kind of like a Simpsons episode. But here you actually see that there's ramifications to everything that happened because, yeah, her ward is going away and Supergirl's not going to like that. She feels like a failure because she didn't do things correctly. But, yeah, I like this issue a lot. I also find it interesting that because they're obviously following the holidays. So they did a December issue with Christmas. They did a New Year's issue and they're doing Will I Find Love because of Valentine's Day. So I think that's kind of cool. But yes, Brant, I want to hear your thoughts as someone who has jumped in. It might not be your type of book, but I want to hear it.
All right. So what I'll say about it was it felt like I was watching an episode of like One Tree Hill or Gilmore Girls or something like that.
Totally so right. That's why I say this, like, this is that guilty pleasure book. It's exactly what it is. You find yourself, say, walking around your living room, you're flipping through channels, and you put on and then you just leave the channel or the TV on that channel, and then all of a sudden, like you said, One Tree Hill comes on, or Vampire Diaries, or something like that, and you're just like, you're doing your chores, and then you stop, and you're just sitting there watching it, going, okay, all right, and you get sucked into it, and that's what this comic is.
So it's like a primetime soap opera is what it is. But, so with a superhero backdrop, obviously. So the thing about me is I love those kind of shows.
That's why I was surprised you hadn't been picking it up. Yeah. It's like, this is like in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So like I said, I read that first issue and I hated it. For whatever reason, that first issue just lost me and I never went back. But yeah, reading this issue, I was like, okay, I could see the appeal. Yeah, this is something that I enjoy. It wouldn't be like my first choice in comic reading, but at the same time, it's like familiar to me. It's the kind of entertainment that I like to consume in other ways. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was lighthearted. It was, something very different, which I appreciated. And, really nice art as well. The plot of the issue was simple. It was easy to follow, but it was, I liked the characters. I knew some of the characters, didn't know some of the other characters, but at the same time, I got pulled into it, through the plot and everything. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I like it's also kind of tries to hit every demographic because if you're an older person who liked Silver Age comics, you're going to love this book. It really is a Silver Age comic. But then if you've never heard of Supergirl before, you'll also like this comic because it's easy, like you said, to jump in. But then also if you like the Supergirl TV show, you have Lena. So it's just like like I love that it really tries to hit all the marks. And as a hardcore Supergirl fan, I'm like, oh, it makes me happy. It's been a while, The
one character that I don't seem to like is the newest one, and that's the one that has the aura around her or whatever.
Yeah, I could live without her.
She's the one that I don't like. She just got introduced 2 issues ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So this real quick was like a type of comic where it was like guilty pleasure, like She-Hulk was, right? Where I told you like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I've learned to like this book. Like if I find myself keep reading it.
Yeah.
But the difference is with this, the storyline is a little bit more in depth and there's
And
more
intellectual. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I see
again, there's
that.
more
And
history too. So there's just more like, if you're a historian comics, you're gonna get a lot out of it. You're gonna like kind of get giddy at this of like how much they're trying to do in this book.
yeah, and you mentioned the Supergirl TV show. I could feel like a similarity to that in her tone a little bit.
Mhm.
So yeah, I totally
And the
get that.
artist and the writer are the same person. So that's really cool
Yeah.
too. Like it's kind of feels really creator owned in that way. And
Mhm.
again, it goes back to the difference of Marvel and DC. Marvel would have canceled this book 2 issues ago. DC's like, let's have fun with it. This is for a different audience, you know, this or like again, like you don't even know what audience it's for because there could be like a 70-year-old man who's like, this reminds me of Superman from back of the day. So like I think it hits a lot of different people. And I think give books like this a try. And it seems like a lot of people are enjoying Supergirl. Again, I don't know the sales for this book, but this definitely feels like something Marvel would have canceled a long time ago.
Oh, for sure. All right. So let's move on here. We got Null issue 1. So this is one of those books where I was kind of like, well, I'm not sure where we're going to go with this one. I don't have high expectations for it, but I personally like this book. I thought it was a good setup on trying to bring back a character who was utterly defeated. And it took a little while to get there. There was a lot of setup, there was a lot of explanation. Some of it I would question on how he's returned because they're like, well, he's Null, he's got thrown into the sun, and somehow because he's dark and godlike, he makes his appearance. Like it literally says that in the comic book. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a weak plot there to bring him back. But nevertheless, he's back. And Hela comes up with this plan of trying to he has him captured and she's trying to capture all his power. And the whole plan was to make him escape so he can get all the symbiote power so she can get it all from him. It's a risky plan, yeah, but it's a way for her to get all powerful so she doesn't have to do all the dirty work. Now, this is obviously going to I think probably hit maybe in the event that's coming out in the Spider-Man book, I'm sure. So, you know, it had good artwork, it has potential.
I think it has potential, but then also it goes back to this feels like a book that'll be canceled in 2-3 issues.
Well, it's only a few issues, I think.
It's only a mini series.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure this is a mini series. Yeah.
I liked Null a lot here, though. I thought he was really cool. The other villains, we'll see. I like the cliffhanger. I thought that was interesting, but it gave me enough for another issue. Like I thought it was interesting enough.
5 issues.
Yeah,
5 issues. Okay.
Yeah, I liked it well enough too. And I like the reasoning as to how he was able to escape too. He realizes that he's literally nothing and just became nothing and got out of it. I really like that. Yeah. So I thought that was cool. It was played nicely. I agree with you, Mike. It took a little while to get there. But once they did, I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. I kind of like where this is going. So yeah.
It was a very brutal book because it reminds you of how much of a, you know, of a no mercy character that Null actually is.
Yeah.
And I like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. And I think it could be in good hands with Al Ewing because he can make a very disturbing book. And I think that is a disturbing character.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So here is a book, of course, that Brant and I read as well. And that's G.I. Joe issue 17. So we were talking about same thing last week with Energon Universe of like how this whole Dreadnought thing was going to end up.
And we talked about that specific character. Yes.
Yes. We were like, when is he going to appear in this book? Oh, he's going to show up soon. And we're like, oh, yeah, he's going to walk out of the shadows, but yet the sun's going to hit him and he's going to turn blue.
Yeah.
That's what we like said.
Yeah.
And he literally shows up here. And I was like, what?
Did you see that coming? Now, when they I'll say this. So we're talking about Zartan, the leader of the Dreadnoks, and he's a master of disguise. For anybody that doesn't know him. So when it became obvious that he was going to be there, I thought it was going to be that new guy that came in, that agent, whatever his name was,
a big dude.
No, the guy that Duke was at odds with, the GI Joe guy. God, what was his name?
I know who you're talking about. Oh, I can't forget his name.
Yeah,
I know exactly who you're
you
talking
know who I'm
about.
talking about. Yeah, so I thought it
That's
was
who I
gonna
thought it was too at the
right,
very end. I'm like, oh, it's that guy.
right, because that makes sense. It's like, well,
Yeah.
he's not anybody I know, so of course it's him. But when it became who it actually was, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" From the
Yes.
beginning?
Yes. And I'm like,
Wow.
how long has he been that way? Like,
Right.
has it been 2 issues, 3 issues? Has it been
The whole
this
time?
entire time? Like,
Yeah.
did
Risk.
he set
Yes.
up the whole thing with Mask to happen?
Comic Nation Us at Risk. Yes. I thought it was gonna be Risk, that character. That's his name. But
I
no,
But
it
mi-
was
I missed
yeah.
out a lot, guys. And somehow
yeah.
that name changes. The last time was epic GI Joe conversation. Cat, you missed out. I would have
Yeah.
added a lot to the conversation.
We were laughing. We're like, even if people were like, "Oh, Cat would have walked out, went to lunch
Yeah.
a long time ago," and that's
No.
why we had that show. We're
No.
like,
Right.
"Let's do it."
No,
Yeah,
when I saw
exactly.
that topic, I'm like, I love it. I'm glad you guys get to talk about it so much.
But so this was a fan favorite character back in the day, Zartan, and he was obviously missing from the Dreadnought, so it was a big deal for him to show up. He was one of the toys I was very excited to get when I was a kid, and I had to save up like 2 weeks allowance to be able to get him because he was more expensive than the rest because he came with a little skiff.
Yeah.
And so it's like when I finally got him, I was like, "Oh, I got this cool character and stuff." So to see him pop up and especially the way he did and who he was pretending to be was just like my mind was blown. I did not expect that
He's
at
a
all.
master of disguise, Cat. He's like a chameleon.
Yeah.
I
So
have
that's
heard
what I'm
those string
saying.
of words before, at
Yeah.
least. So when I heard Masters of Disguise, I'm like, I kind of get it now.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
it ended up. What I like to hear is that 35 issues in, whatever, to GI Joe and Transformers, there's still so much to be excited about from the lore, and that's something that's kind of fun seeing from the outside looking in. It's just like,
Yeah.
Radiant Black was one of those books where I'm just like, I don't know how to feel about it because, like, how does a superhero book with new lore kind of last so many issues, right? It's hard to like keep it up. But then I look at stuff like Transformers and I'm like, I guess that's how you do it, right? Or you look at GI Joe, I guess that's how you do it. And it seems like they're doing a good job with it because you guys on an issue basis are excited, not just like, oh, this is a little slow. I think I've heard you guys say for GI Joe, like your last arc was like a little slower. But other than that, it seems like you guys have been excited on almost each and every time.
And again, this is a spoiler book, right? Where it's just like you could have spoiled this at the end and
Yeah.
nobody spoiled it. And then look at the reaction you get as a
Right.
fan. You're like, oh man, that's pretty awesome right there.
Yeah. I mean, when I turned that page, I was like a little kid. I was like, "Oh my god, yes!"
Yeah.
It's like this is so cool. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love getting that feeling from comics. It's
That's
few
what
and far
they're
between
meant
these
to
days.
be. That's when you know you have a good comic, right?
Exactly.
Well, wasn't comics always built on the cliffhanger anyways? Like
Yes.
right? So like I feel like you got to build your comic. I mean, when I write comics, I'm always like, what's the ending? What's the thing that gets people to come
Right.
back? Because you're never promised a person to come back. Like you gotta
Right.
every issue hook someone, or else they're gonna leave, you know?
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, let's move on here. Let's go on to our number 4. So, Kat, what's yours?
Mine was Spider-Man Torn. This
Good
has
book.
been fun. Yeah, it's been surprising. But the reason why I think it clicks is because it has foresight, right? So it's characters that, because they have gone through all these years of storytelling, you can go back to Norman and Harry having a conversation like they do here. And also the villain's kind of fun. Like I like her. She's just fun enough. The artwork is good. It just makes for a really fun Lost episode where I don't tend to like Lost episodes, but if you do a Lost episode, do what you're doing here. Make a good art, give me character story beats that I wouldn't have had before, and make the villain somewhat interesting.
Yeah. I remember you didn't like this first issue.
Yeah. And then after that, I really
said,
liked it.
and I said it was the characters that made this
Mm.
for me.
Mm.
And it continues to be that way. And that's what I like about this. The villain is cool, right? But the villain doesn't make the book for me, even though she has improved, because she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. You know, do you
She's
get
not
your body
mustache twirly.
right? Yeah, and I like it. She, you know, she's in a tough spot, but
And she
again,
looks
it's
cool. That's what I like
yeah,
about her characters. Like she has an interesting design. She looks a little different. And I
right.
think that's what you kind of need from something like this.
And the character work is great. It's so good to see that supporting cast in a Spider-Man book. It's just
And do something, right? Like
yes,
they
yes.
have character work in this book. So yeah, if you guys miss old Spider-Man, I genuinely recommend this one. And I usually do not like nostalgia books. They're really hard for me to recommend, but this is one I've really enjoyed.
Absolutely. All right, Brant, what you got?
Mine is a book that I dropped for a while and I picked back up, which is Batman and Robin issue number 29.
Oh, it's the penultimate issue here.
29? That's
Yeah.
crazy. They're up
Yeah.
to that many issues.
It ends in the next issue.
Does it really? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I picked it up because it was the return of Scarface, and I was curious how they were going to do this and everything, and I just thought it was really well done. They have the Quiet Man is in a prison cell, and they're you know, he's about to be killed, and all this stuff, and Batman and Robin are trying to solve this mystery of what happened to his son and all this kind of stuff, and in the meantime, they're tracking down Scarface, who has gotten out, and he's like killing off people, and he's about to murder that penguin, and all this crazy stuff is going. The art is really, solid in this book too, and it was a really solid issue, and it reminded me of like Batman the Animated Series a little bit.
Right.
That's
yeah,
what I
that's
really
good
liked.
that you liked it. I mean, this book has always been on and off for me in the early stages.
Right.
And then I heard it got better as time goes along. And then I was thinking about picking it up again. But then I heard that obviously Philip Kennedy Johnson writes that book.
Yeah.
So he now is exclusive to Marvel. So they had to end the series.
I didn't realize
they
that.
could have gotten another creative team, but I guess there's a lot of Batman books.
Yeah. If I had realized that, I probably wouldn't have picked it up, but I still really enjoyed the issue.
It seemed like a pretty interesting issue when I read it. I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. So my number 4 is actually Geiger, issue 20.
It's a good issue.
So another really good book from Geiger this time around. But this is the first time now we're getting a crossover in the Ghost Machine universe. So you're getting the character, the Northerner makes his appearance here, and Tyreek and him interact. And Tyreek is like, he, trying to get the information on him. He kind of gives him some info, and he says, I could prevent this whole war from happening. And all of a sudden now these guys are going to work together, but they got to get to, was it Detroit, Brant? I think it was that they had to get back to.
Yeah.
And along the way, you have people trying to stop them. And the Northerners' weapons just fall from the sky. So it's just like you get a bag of weapons.
The interesting thing was he just appears out of nowhere, and he's in this Civil War outfit. And Geiger, obviously this is in the future when Geiger takes place. And Geiger's like, dude, you've been touched by radiation sickness or something. You're out there. I don't know what you're smoking. What's going on here? Maybe you are from a different time. I don't know. But yeah, just, whatever, dude. But then he sees the bag fall from the sky and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with it. Why not?
And what about the end when the whole tank falls down?
Yeah, the time tank or whatever it was called. Yeah, it's like, okay, that now you got to pay attention. A giant tank is falling from the sky. Sure. Something weird is going on here. Let's see this through.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And this, you got Nate and Zigzag together, trying to find Tyreek as well. So you got that going on. And I always love Barney in this book because he's so loyal to Tyreek no matter what happens. And I love that. I love that about this book, and it's a good book, man. It's so good. All right. So let's move on here. So we just talked about Geiger. We talked about Black Cat. Green Lantern Corps. So you guys, why did I check this off?
Yeah, I dropped this one.
I dropped this too.
It's only.
So I don't know why you burnt. Yeah,
yeah. Brant, go for it.
There's not much to say. I don't even remember what
this is the reason we dropped off.
It's like this was one of the first books I read, I think, and I'm struggling to remember exactly what happened in it now.
Guess it wasn't that good.
No, and I think Jeremy Adams dropped off this book, and since then
He did.
So I just like that's where I feel like I had to drop off because I didn't even when Jeremy Adams was writing it wasn't my favorite. So
I think I may be just remembering the Green Lantern book. I don't know.
We can tell you if you are because we do read Green Lantern.
I'm thinking it had something to do with they were gathering all the different lanterns and they had to go to Larfleeze's planet.
No, that sounds like Green Lantern Corps because I don't think Larfleeze has been in Green Lantern.
Yeah, okay. So they had to go and they realized that Larfleeze his battery wasn't on Oa like all the others. He actually had his battery with him, and then he was trying to keep everybody. So it was basically all the Lantern groups against Larfleeze in this issue, is what I remember about it. I don't remember why they were trying to get them all together, but yeah, it was a little bit forgettable, honestly. So I've been sticking with this book. Yeah, I've been sticking with this book, trying to have faith in it, and it just now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, maybe I didn't really enjoy this. I mean, it is very low on my list this week too.
Right.
Like 20 out of 23. So
wow, that's something.
All right. Well, let's just move on then. So we'll talk about our number 3, and I'll start with you, Brant, this time.
Green Lantern Corps.
No. No, I'm sorry. It's not Transformers. It's DCKO. I apologize.
Gotcha. And Kat?
Mine was Minor Arcana, issue 13. This issue, you get to see that girl that she's kind of getting cozy with. Her brother has been stuck in this world for a little while, the other worlds, and you get to see a little bit from the brother. And there's some good interpersonal relationships here. And then if you like character stories, I recommend it. It's like a little darling that I enjoy reading.
Gotcha. Cool deal. Yep, haven't read in quite some time because my shop just stopped getting it. So I've just
always sucks with the indies. Yeah, that sucks when my store is a little bigger, so they tend to like keep these books a little bit more. But it sucks when you have a smaller store. Like this happens unless it's like Transformers.
Yeah, unless it's a big one, exactly. Yeah. All right. What's my turn, right?
Yes.
All right. So my number 3 was Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, The Rite of Spring. Ooh, best issue yet, man. Holy cow. This book was just absolutely insane. We wound up seeing Samantha the Bear team up with the duck that wound up getting the duck's sister that got murdered in the last volume, and she's trying to solve her brother's murder. And so Samantha has done something very smart where she teams up with this duck and kind of helps her try to solve the case, right? And kind of tries to frame the person who, was set up that actually did it, or didn't actually kill him, but was set up that, was framed that did it. And anyway, long story short is that the jig is up, and the female duck winds up finding out that Samantha killed her brother. And once that happens, there is so much action in this book, and just Samantha the Bear is planned for all contingencies, and it is phenomenal. And this is not the end of the issue either. There's one more issue after this, so I'm not sure where we're going to go with this, but it is so good. Really good, man.
I'm glad you've been enjoying it. And I'm glad that there's been more past the first volume.
Yeah, it's a good follow-up. I wasn't sure how they were going to follow this up, but they did a good job with it. All right, so let's move on here. Getting closer to number 1. We're going to talk about, let's see, as me and Brant read all these titles, as Kat hasn't read any of them.
It's all the, it's literally all the, the, what do they call the universe for Transformers? I can't remember. The Ed and John universe and the, and all the Geoff Johns books. So I felt bad for you guys for the 3 weeks that they're not here, though, because I feel like literally all of them were released this week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the Ultimates issue 20. So
is this the penultimate, or is it done now?
I I don't remember
I'll
actually.
look
I
it
think
up.
there's a couple more issues. Okay, you go.
Now, while you guys speak about it, I'll see what we got here. Let's see. Yeah, there's a few. There's like 4 more after this. It's
Okay.
crazy.
So yeah, this one had to do with a story about the Vision, which is another character introduced, and you wind up getting this story of Nick Fury, which was can't talk, quite interesting because it was like Nick Fury doesn't know that he's alive, and he always comes across Vision, and like Vision constantly like kills him. It's kind of a sad story. I feel bad for this Nick Fury character because this is the second time that we've seen him like die, and he doesn't realize that he's
Yeah.
a robot. You know?
Yeah, there's like hundreds of them. They keep bringing him back, and he doesn't
Yeah.
remember his past life every time. The Vision just
Yep.
keeps killing him. That was,
And then what happens is Vision makes him remember though, and
yeah,
then forces to kill himself. Like that's
yeah,
dark, dude.
yeah,
So that was pretty intense right there. But the one thing that I didn't like was all of the freaking dialogue in this book from Vision. I'm like, oh my God, please
yeah.
stop talking.
It was quite an info dump.
So
Kind of explaining, his or their whole purpose in this, and how they came to be at that point, and all that stuff. I like the Vision character, this version of the Vision character, and the way they came about in the story. And the Nick Fury stuff was really tragic, but I agree with you. It was very heavy and very like, okay, let's get there.
yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on here. Aquaman issue 13. I kind of read this book. I
It
don't
wasn't
know
what I
what's going.
expected. Yeah.
I just don't know what's going on. Like I don't know the characters. I tried and I'm just like there was 2 pages sort of tied to DCKO. Otherwise, it
Yeah.
doesn't really tie into it at all.
Yeah, I dropped that a few issues
and
ago because I'm
so
just
I
like,
just
I don't. When you don't love Aquaman, it's hard.
No, exactly. But the artwork is really good, and it's just like maybe I just tried jumping back in maybe too late, or
Well,
maybe just not the right time.
it just the way it looked like it was going to be her versus her grown-up daughter or something from the solicitations and the cover and everything, but that wasn't it. It was like her against this other character that I'm not sure who that was, and I was really confused by who she was battling
Right,
and how that tied into anything that had happened in Aquaman for the previous 12 issues. I
right.
didn't understand because where Aquaman was during that whole run, Mara was dead and now she's alive, and I don't it was very confusing. I
And
was
then there was a statue missing at the end.
Yeah, I was very lost. Yeah.
So that's what we thought about that one. All right, let's move on to Space Ghost. So Space Ghost was a good issue. It's
Mhm.
part 1 of 2.
Yeah.
And we get the introduction to the Antimatter Man, which is a specific character that Space Ghost and the family knows.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping that they would do something with this character, and they did. And I pleasantly surprised with this book. It continues to impress me every time. And I just love all the creative enemies that are going into this run.
Yeah, and it manages to strike a balance between like reminiscent of those old cartoons and the way that the language is. It's very old school golden age in a way, but it's also very modernized. And the action and the art and the tone is a lot more serious than the older stuff. So it's a really nice balance between the two. And like you said, it's got really interesting villains. Most of the stories are like one and done, or there's like a small through arc that they see through, and everything's personally connected to one of the characters. It's just really well done. David's
Yeah.
doing a really good job with this book.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to the second part of that story to see what happens with that character. All right. So we got that one where it says, have you guys talked about your Spider-Man topic? Yes, we did talk about that for sure. We talked about that during the news segment of that story. So Brant, if you want to clip that part, you can.
Yeah. I told you we're never going to remember to say it. There's for everybody watching, there's a feature on StreamYard. We can say clip that. Now I'll clip this. But
Yes.
where you can clip a section of your discussion and it'll create a little short for it.
Well, now you could clip explaining how to clip for StreamYard.
Yeah, there you
that
go.
could be
Now StreamYard's going to get confused.
Yeah.
Clip it.
Clip that spider carnage. There we go.
Yeah, right.
What happens?
Oh God. All right. So let's move on to our number 2 here. What do you got, Kat, for your number 2?
Mine was Supergirl. We already talked about it.
All right. What about you, Brent?
Mine's Transformers.
Cool. And my number 2 is G.I. Joe.
There you go.
Right. It tells you we're biased to our to our things that we love.
Our properties.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's move on to Court. We'll talk about that one first. Children of the Round Table. For me, this just continues to be a solid read. It's nothing where it's blowing me out of the water. I just think it's a good book for all ages, and we continue the stories of the kids and learning their powers and fighting, and then we find out a secret at the end of it, and I thought it was cool. It was like that ending was like a Star Wars moment.
Yeah, and I agree. It's like a good palate cleanser. For me, it's a book that I like to read first because it's an easy read to kind of get into the other stuff. And every single time I'm like, oh, do I want to continue reading this? I don't love like King Arthur lore. Like something like that ending happens. You're like, oh man, you keep reeling me in. So yeah, it's a solid book. Like you said, I don't know if it'll ever be in my top 5 unless it's a low week, but maybe it will one day, but it tends to be like middle of the pile, but in a good way. Like I still enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're enjoying it. It doesn't have to be like blowing your mind and anything. But no, I really enjoyed this book too. It's light, it's fun, it's got twists and turns, it's got drama, it's got a little bit of comedy. This issue in particular was a little bit more serious, and you had some characters worrying about their future and different things like that.
Yeah, with the statue stuff.
Yeah, with the statues. Yeah, and so I thought that was really interesting. Then, like you said, the cliffhanger was really good too. So yeah, really solid issue.
Very cool. All right, so now we're going to talk about Uncanny X-Men issue 22. So this was on my pull list. I guess I put it on my FOC. So I did get it. I did read it. I did find the story was fine because it had Nightcrawler in it. And I think that's what made it better because it didn't have the other kids in it, and it had Wolverine in it, and they were fighting that new villain, and her motive to try to become X-Men was a little bit strange. Obviously, she was doing it for her own selfish reasons, but I liked how at the end of the day they wind up prevailing. Nightcrawler winds up winning, and that's it. I did find it odd though that this book is just coming back, and it's like, oh look, we got a one and done story, and that's it.
That was odd, but I do agree with you. I think the story was well done. I like the villain. It's something different and interesting, and I like the fight with Nightcrawler. At the same time, I totally get your point, and it's like, where are we going from here?
Right.
Yeah. And I wish the Nightcrawler stuff was more. It did feel like 2 different stories in this issue. So I'm like, kind of pick a lane. But I mean, I'll continue reading it, see where it goes. I don't hate this series. I just don't love this series. And I would love to like a X-Men series now that my exceptional X-Men's gone.
I just wanted to see like, okay, now that this is back, let's see where we're going with it if I want to continue it. Now I have to buy one more issue to see if I'm going to continue it, Right. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. So with that being said, we head on over to our number 1 comic of the week. No surprise here, but for me, it was Transformers. And Brant, yours is G.I. Joe.
Of course.
And I'm going to have to say for Kat, it's Supergirl.
No, Supergirl was my number 2. So
number 2. Oh, that's right.
So what do you think it was?
I can't remember now.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was DCKO. So
okay, yeah.
That's
I
right.
forgot you hadn't.
I think
said
because
that
we
one.
had
I haven't
such a
said that
large
one.
conversation about it, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my number one. It had a lot of twists and turns by far, honestly, too. That was a really good issue for me. And we'll see tomorrow. I was looking at the list. I agree. Tomorrow's not like the biggest comic week, but then I was looking at the week after, and it looks like because all the absolute titles moved. They usually come out this week, but they got delayed a week. So now you have Martian Manhunter, Flash, Batman. The kids are all fighting, which is not the one. There's a DCKO one which has like Homelander and stuff.
They
like
need
that.
to spread that out. They need to do like one.
I know. Superman. There's so many books. Iron Man issue 1 comes out that week. Like that's the week that's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
And now tomorrow's not. There's good books. Obviously, there's books we're excited for, which we'll talk about in a minute. But there's not any like huge books tomorrow.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Brant. So why don't you go ahead and get that started?
Yeah, let's do it. Most anticipated. So, got some interesting choices here this week, even all things considered. Let's start with Planet She-Hulk number 3. I'm actually surprised you're still reading this, Cat.
No, I like it. I don't know what like.
I'm still reading it too, but yeah.
It's not something I normally would like. I think that's where, because I don't really love sci-fi stories, but I like the murder mystery aspect. I really like Jen, who's this very grounded character, being like, I don't know what to do here. So I've been enjoying it. I like it. And I don't know, it's kind of been under the radar book for me. So
it still is Jen being Jen, but on a different planet.
Right. Yeah.
And I will say, if this was a different week in Absolute Batman and all the other books that were delayed were supposed to come out this week, I probably wouldn't be in my top 3. But yeah, it is like you said. Like I love Jennifer Walters, so if you get to see Jen being Jen, like I'm having a good time reading it.
Yeah, no, I got that. I was just it was the reasons you said. So
the sci-fi aspect.
But yeah, I like Jen as well, and I'm still reading it for that reason. So.
And Stephanie Phillips has like done no wrong, so she's like doing a really good job writing her Marvel books.
I love her writing. I love her like TikTok stuff too. I follow her on TikTok. She has some really interesting insights and shares like her journey and all this kind of stuff over there. So really big fan of Stephanie's. But all right, so let's go with Red Coat number 16. That's Mike's number 3. And this
16,
is
that's crazy. That's that far in,
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is part 2 of the story of where Redcoat is like just a civilized man, but in the last issue he met with Albert Einstein again, and it looks like he might have to leave his home life in order to do the next mission. So I'm very curious to see how that develops.
Exactly. It's been a while since that came out, right? Issue 15. It
feels like it's probably been like a month. Maybe it skipped a month. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it feels longer than a month to me, but maybe not.
Yeah,
it could just be the holidays. All right, so my number 3 is Captain America number 6, and the only reason is because this starts like the road to Armageddon and everything, and I'm just really curious how SHIELD comes back into play and what this story is going to be like. So I haven't been reading Captain America, but I'm getting this one just for that reason.
Well, this is the one I'm picking this up too, because I dropped it and now I'm picking it back up.
Right.
This is the jumping on point for this series.
Exactly.
You have to let me know if it's worth it, but right now it's not on my pull list.
Gotcha. All right, so let's jump to. I'll skip my number 2 because that's the one book that's on all 3 of ours. We'll go to Fantastic Four, which is Invisible Woman centric. This story and.
Yeah. Every issue of Fantastic Four has kind of been a hit for me. So again, in a lower week where there's not a ton coming out, I like a book like this where it's just been really consistent. And like you said, Invisible Woman's back in the spotlight, which is always great to see. The art's really good with Humberto Ramos. I'm just enjoying this book, and I'm hoping it sticks to landing because all the issues have so far.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's been really good run. Yeah, I agree. All right, so we'll skip Mike's number 2 as well. We'll jump to Exquisite Corpses number 9.
Is this when's it? I always ask, but it's
13.
13. Okay.
Yes. So we're in the
we're getting so close, and I'm like, when?
Yeah. I mean, just every issue is just really good in my eyes. I have a fun time reading this book, and Now I think what it's about the groundskeeper here, the shopkeeper trying to keep everything in order. And I think now there's going to be chaos amongst the townsfolk here trying to escape. And so how does he manage all of that? So I think it's going to be in the point of view of him now.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, every issue is really the cool thing about the book. It's the same story, obviously, but you're telling it from different characters' points of view. Not every issue, but every few issues at least, and you're following a bunch of different characters. So it's it's hard to do that, I think, in a story like this, and I think they've done it really well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. All right, so I'm going to jump to my number one, which is DCKO Green Lantern Galactic Slam, because
I
this
knew
That was
that would
close
be
for
yours.
me.
Kyle
close.
Rayner in a wrestling ring. I mean, come
Yes.
on.
That's going to be great.
This was written for me.
I hope it's a
What?
5 out of 5 best comic of
Right?
the year for you.
Yeah.
And it's Jeremy Adams, I believe,
Yeah,
too. So
it
like
is,
it's
yeah.
gonna be good.
And we're bringing back Omega Bam Man. I don't remember what that story was, but we've seen him before in a wrestling story. Not too long ago, maybe a little while back. But yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this. That's all there is to it.
That's awesome.
And do we know the artist? Who's the artist for it?
I don't remember.
Let's see if I can find it.
Okay.
League of Comics. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the artist Patch Bowden, who has done Witchblade, kind of like smaller projects. So
Okay.
I'm curious how the look will be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited for it. All right, so the last book we got to talk about is mine and Mike's number 2, Cat's number 1, which is Everything Dead and Dying, issue number 5.
The last issue.
Yeah.
I just want to know how
do
it
you-
ends,
How do you
right?
wrap
Right?
this up? There's
Yeah.
so much you can tell.
I
There's
know.
going to have to be a volume 2.
There has
to
There
be.
has to be.
There's so much left undone here.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a whole world that could be
Yeah.
told, and I don't think they knew it was going to be as as big as it was. So, yeah, I really love this book, and I hope it sticks the landing because there has been books we've loved, and then like
Right.
the ending kind of doesn't follow through. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. This is like the reason to go to the comic book store tomorrow for me is to
Right.
get this book.
Yeah.
Like I could totally see this almost ending in the happy ending way, and they just wrap it up and that's it. And I
Yeah.
kind of, it's
You
like I
kinda
kind
don't
of don't
want that,
want
right.
that to happen, so it somehow continues,
Mhm.
right?
No,
I
I
want to
agree with you,
see
man.
like maybe how the apocalypse started, or I want to see maybe some of the other characters, or I want to see more of this guy's past life. Like there's so much here that can be explored.
Or see him
Right.
find another town that he didn't grow up in and see the humanity in it. I think that would be really interesting. You don't usually see that. Like there's, like you said, there's so many different stories to tell with it. And if you guys haven't picked it up, now you could kind of, I'm sure the trade will come out in like 3 months and you could check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely do. But that's it. That's all the books we got to talk about this week.
And that's
Cool.
it. So there we have it, guys. We are all done. So we talked about that news and we talked about those comics and we talked about the books that we were looking forward to. So now it's your turn. Just give this video a like on your way out. It definitely helps. And subscribe to our channels, which is Only Good Comics, Cat Comic Uno, and Comic Book Corner 2.0. So with that being said, guys, have a wonderful evening. Have a great new comic book day. And we will see you guys all next week. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.